They don't want rap no more, they want pop. The CIA, the ones who kill Pac. And they make crack, I might just get shot. And they make crack, I might just get shot. Fuck it, I'ma tell the truth like it's nothing. Add a little bass, but they double up the budget. Run it, I ain't hit my peak, no sun.
Welcome back to Unscripted Liberty. I'm your host, Brittany Kosin, here to explore liberty, leadership, and the future of the Libertarian Party. Today, we have a phenomenal guest joining us who represents the grit, resilience, and vision that fuels our movement. Not only is he a member of the Libertarian National Committee as a regional representative, but he's also an officer of a Bexar County Libertarian Party, a key figure on the Texas State Executive Committee, and a founding board member of the Classical Liberal Caucus. Please welcome Paul Darr.
Thank you, Brittany, for the great introduction there. And just for pronunciation, so you know how to pronounce it, like a local here, it is actually pronounced Bear County. Kind of like the animal
like
bear.
Pennsylvania stuff.
Yeah. It's more, it's closer to the Spanish pronunciation of the word.
Okay, so silent X.
Yes.
Okay, before we dive in, I want to thank our sponsors, Libertarian Mutual Aid, the Libertarian Party Medical Freedom Caucus, and the Radical Caucus. Your support is what makes these conversations possible, so let's get started. Paul, let's start with your journey. You grew up in the foster care system, endured unimaginable challenges, and still rose to become a leader. How did those early experiences kind of shape your view of the world?
Oh, wow. Well, there's many experiences I took out of that, and it grew me over time. It kind of, started from rock bottom and how to be in the world and how I thought of myself, and had to really come up with my own identity of self-worth in the world from there. And I had through the experience in the foster care system, that where they really have control over your life at such a level, and normal parents try to look out for you, and the system isn't always looking out for you, and you have to learn to look out for yourself when the system might be not in your best interest as things going on. So that bred into me the desire for some independence, the desire to distrust of the state, that even when they're trying to do the best things they thought, there's always corrupt people within the system, lazy people within the system that can hurt you out there.
Yeah, so your service in the Army and deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan must have kind of offered some unique perspectives as well. How did that kind of shape more of your political philosophy and your decision to join the Libertarian Party?
Okay, yeah. So everybody joins from a certain perspective. So me coming out of foster care, I was very poor. And so I did join the Libertarian Party as I was coming out of registered as a Libertarian. I still signed up for the Army because, that's one of the quickest ways for a poor person to get out of that situation. Sell your body one way or another. And in my case, I went off to war thinking I was going to be doing some great things and helping people in Iraq, and saw that even when you have the people on the ground that have the best of intentions at times, there's other people that don't. And there's just you're trying to use a system that's designed to kill people to help people in the country. And that's very incompatible in different ways. And you need to understand that that's not how you help another country, by sending people that are designed to inflict damage and war upon a place there. It's just not going to end out well in the end. And so coming back from that, I remember being invited out to speak after I started getting involved in the Libertarian Party more vocally at the time, and having shared my experience and got to talk about how those experiences were very negative for the people out there, and that of course, as a Libertarian Party, we advocate for not going to war and avoiding those situations, and trying to find ways to cooperate and things like that. And that really shaped me in that direction.
Nice. Yeah. I think part of it too is coming from the foster care system, where stuff is pretty like regimented a little bit, and then going into it seems pretty kind of straightforward to go into the military, where it keeps staying regimented and stuff.
Yeah, there's other people that found things very hard when they came in, and so I had two advantages coming into it. Growing up in the foster care system, everything had been so crappy that when a drill sergeant's yelling at me, I'm like, well, I've been beaten before. This is nothing.
Been
So
there, done that.
been there, done that. I've taken a lot worse than this in my life. And then I also went during high school. I wrestled, and anyone that's done wrestling in high school knows how physically challenging that is. So I would just after a while I learned I had to kind of hold back and fake it so that they try to push you as hard as you can go, so that they weren't trying to push me so hard. Just be like, oh, I'm just like another person here.
Yeah, they're pushing you to your normal instead of beyond.
Yes, exactly.
You learned quickly.
Yes.
So the Libertarian Party has made quite a few waves recently, but challenges remain. What do you see as the biggest obstacle for the party, and how can we overcome those?
All right. So, wow, the party is so divided on vision right now. You have the portion of the party that wants to follow the vision of our chair Angela McArdle there, who wants to have a kind of fusionist philosophy going forward, and a more small L libertarian as far as for the vision for the entire Libertarian Party, and that's completely incompatible in many ways to the those that wish to run the party for running candidates and for running and trying to get elected and to beat the opposition. So we have a divide that's based on that philosophy, and a strategic incredible difference there. And as people get turned off from that current point, getting them back is going to be increasingly difficult as we move forward.
Yeah, I know a lot of when I'm talking to people that are like either afraid to come into the Libertarian Party or are thinking of leaving, I go, there's growing pains and everything, and you don't always have to follow the level at national. There's state and county. You can focus on a lower level and build that up to what you want it to be, and just kind of wait out what's going on. And I think I'm seeing a lot of people are having issues seeing a down the road big picture of this. They want to see like today, tomorrow, yesterday. That's only what they want to look at. It's like that, you can't do that in a political party. You have to look the 5, 10, 15-year plan type thing, because of how frequently we meet and how frequently we have elections and stuff in our hierarchy. It's like you kind of gotta wait it out and play the long game.
I like how you mentioned the state and county emphasis. That's what I've also been emphasizing right now. So I've been telling people that the base of the party are our counties and our state affiliates there. So and any other associated affiliate at that level. The Libertarian National Committee could disappear tomorrow, and as long as you had all those state affiliates, we could reform a national party. So if we maintain the strength at that level, that gives us something that can be built back onto as a base. So those that are losing hope out there, look at that vision, that keep that base strong. I know some of our base is getting weak out there. So go out there and focus on building that base where you are and in your community and in your state, and we'll have something to build upon in the future.
Yeah, really, I like the idea of focusing from a bottom up idea instead of from a top down. Things tend to be stronger and withhold more when you have a strong base and move up from that and build on that. It's the whole theory of build your house upon a rock or build your house upon the sand, and see which one lasts longer.
Yes.
So I'm big in my county affiliate in Bucks County here in Pennsylvania, and big in general in helping Pennsylvania be a pretty good cornerstone, or if we want to go with it, a keystone. I'll use my play on words there, but I'm big on kind of making us an example of what to do. And a big thing we have is like we use the Malta maneuver, and how we have one of the largest number of elected libertarians in one state and stuff. Like we have quite a few, and a lot of our candidates that were statewide candidates this past election actually did really well. Like we got like 2 to 4% of the vote on a lot of different ones. And that was really neat to see that. And even like some of them we had that were like 3 and 4 or 5 other like third party candidates running against them, and they still maintained like 2 to 4%. And being an upset, like we had the Bob Casey race and stuff, seeing my libertarian candidate and even the Constitution Party and other ones see the amount of votes they had and be like, that's the amount of votes he needed to win. That's enough to be an upset. I'm like, that made me so happy to see us be an upset and kind of really, we might not have won, but we brought a ton of attention to ourselves.
Yeah, some of my big victories in the past was actually before I lived in Texas. I lived in California, mentioning how I was in the system there, and I'd also been involved in the Libertarian Party out there. And I remember us at different times. We had worked locally, and I had worked with different other local groups out there. Had a huge group marched out against. They were at the time doing DUI checks during the day in neighborhoods. Basically using that DUI money to fund those checks and to just be able to write tickets as an enforcement level of taxation upon the local populace there. So we went and marched against that, got them to stop that policy. And in another spot, we had also spoke against it and got them to stop doing red light cameras in the area there too. And that was also just another enforcement policy for taxation there. That one was more math. We pointed out to them they weren't actually making any money on it. It was really the company administrating everything that was making the money, and showing them how that was just pissing off their voters and not getting them any revenue was the point that got them to turn that over. But there's wins to be had there, and I remember even working on legalization for marijuana in the state there with others, that there was a wide coalition of individuals. And people shouldn't forget about how the impact of the Libertarian Party working with our different coalition partners to make that happen in different states, and how we still have work to go in those areas and working with our coalition partners that are out there.
Yeah, it's definitely, not being afraid to reach out to others and find common ground to work together on something. You might not be big enough yourself, finding others to make that kind of get that voice a little louder.
And I'm sorry if my voice cracks it a few times. I just had COVID this past weekend for like about a week here, and this is speaking for a while is a little tough on it, but I wanted to be here tonight.
Same. This is not my normal voice, as my listeners probably could tell. I'm getting over a chest cold as well, so we'll make it through.
Yeah.
So your leadership spans multiple levels of the Libertarian Party. What does your role on the LNC as a regional representative involve?
Well, at the bare minimum level, it's of course attending all of our LNC meetings that I'm able to make it to there, and to vote and to research on the votes that we're making at those meetings, both in person, electronically, and online there, and paying attention to what's going on. So I try to review all of that material. In addition to that, just since I'm not a part of the majority that's currently controlling the LNC, I get reached out to from multiple states that are outside of my region. In addition to that individuals that want to talk to somebody on the LNC that has questions about policy. Sometimes it's very simple things that they just feel more comfortable reaching out to me to talk to. And sometimes it's just advocating on their behalf to others when they aren't actually getting listened to out there for things. I also they've given me a list of donors, and I've been reaching out to those individual donors for the LNC. Unfortunately, since it's people that were within my region, many of them are currently unhappy with the direction of the LNC and are not donating at this time towards the LNC. I'm trying to build that relationship with them, and it is my duty as a board member, no matter what people feel about the direction of the LNC, to reach out and to try to get people to donate towards the party by building those relationships with them there.
Yeah, again, keeping that long-term vision and bringing those people to that long-term vision. So you've also been pretty pivotal in LP Texas and Bexar County. Can you kind of share some of the a project or a success story that you're like that's your baby, that's something that you really kind of that feather in your cap that you like?
You know what? I hadn't really thought of that one for between Texas and Bexar County out here. My biggest things out here is that I'd been really active in the party. I stepped away for a little bit just as a regular member, donating member, and then in 2019 I started becoming active in the party again. And what I want to say is, like, when COVID hit, and everybody just like shut down across everywhere, we immediately lost 2 officers in Bexar County here. I was an officer at the time, and and I really felt like, all right, even members of the Libertarian Party are stepping back when they need to be stepping forward right now, and I need to step forward and make things happen. So what I'm proud of is when the party needed me, I stepped forward to help make sure the party would continue within Bexar County, and outreach within LP Texas to make sure people were able to continue there. As far as it's more collective on things we've been able to do. We've been able to have some great campaigns of individuals locally in the area. We have some people that are working on building their profile and continually. I like that in my local county affiliate. I won't get into specifics there too much, but we've had a couple individuals that have run for office, and running for office repeatedly, even though they might lose the first time, but running for that local office and doing that grind and learning how to improve their craft and running for local office. They have shown improvement every time. And I like seeing that improvement has gone on so that we can crack the code of being able to help get them into office locally out here. When I say locally, it's within the city of San Antonio. Bexar County has a little over 2 million people out here. So our local is the size of some smaller states on that level. So it is a bit of a challenge when we're working those issues out here. As far as within the state of Texas, we've had a lot of success as we keep on fighting against the work of the Republicans to work us off the ballot. We've had some wins, some losses along the way there. I feel like I've helped contribute by financially trying to support there and encourage others to financially support and show up at the state house. Of course, it was actually some of the guys like Kevin Hale, that's one of our members, that are boots on the ground, really working there and building those relationships. We do something out here in Texas we have an every other year legislative session. And so we send out a staff member to work during that legislative session and to follow bills. We also have other volunteers that are reading over the bills, but we have a staff member that's there building those relationships with people and legislators there and their staff. And we've been able to have some success with them improving things in different areas out there. So I'm really proud of what LP Texas has been able to accomplish in that area in our political action department. I'm also on our bylaws committee, which is probably the boringest thing around, but I'm proud to have tried to simplify things so that others can navigate our bylaws better. And I believe the rest of our teams every year has been doing great at doing that. Somebody has to do it, and I'm pretty good working with others on trying to come up with a fair policy that works with others.
Believe me, bylaws are tedious. I was on the credentialing committee for national convention, so going through everyone's bylaws was beyond tedium.
Yeah. Right now, one of the other big things I do is just talking to people and keeping them motivated to be in the party. A lot of people miss that human connection there of making sure that some people will have reached their point of burnout, and I'll try to talk to them before they reach that point of burnout. I'll try to recognize that among my friends in the party there, and talk to them about scaling back at times. So the party is great at getting people and then working you until you burn out completely. So, and I say that as somebody that's holding 3 different levels of offices. The party needs me right now, so that's what I'm doing. But I'm going to try to cut back when I can in the future here, and try to get others successors placed into different positions so that I'm not doing all of that. But I say that to others that I can see the stress cracking them within the party. I'm like, hey, it isn't so bad that you should challenge your family's health and finances to that level, that you need to be able to put that into perspective and keep this sustainable for our membership in the party. And just making that human connection with others and watching for that is also an important part of what I do with others.
I end up putting my hat in a lot of different rings with a lot of different stuff. And then TJ does the same thing. My husband, he tends to want to volunteer himself for a lot of stuff and sometimes bites off more than he can chew sometimes. And I go, we have a family business for that. You can still charge people. You don't have to do it for free, but like you can charge them $5. They'll gladly pay the $5 for your work.
Yeah, I have a friend here in LP, Texas. She's a great artist, and anytime I try to get some art from her, she struggles with charging me, and I'm like, no, go ahead, and please charge me what you think is fair here, because I have no clue what your time is worth. Tell me what your time is worth so I can fairly pay you back for this, because I am not artistic at all, and when I need it, I get somebody that has those skills.
Yes, exactly. It's like, write down what you would charge anybody else, and then if you really, really want to, give me a discount, but not anything more than like 10%. Like, so that's a big thing, is everyone has such big dreams of seeing this party get somewhere that they're willing to put so much work in, and it's great, but at the same time, at what cost is it? It's like, you still have to make a buck, you still have to care for your family and put food on the table at home. So it's a big thing of being like, you need to learn when you're burning the candle at 3 ends, like the top, the bottom, and the middle. You can't do that.
Definitely. I have a kind of a theory on there where we any year our volunteers that we get, we'll lose half of them within a year from just burning so hard, and that's just what happens. And then the following year we'll lose half the remainder there, just because of that work cycle there. So I feel by maintaining a more manageable work cycle, we'll be able to grow more as a party, and we need to incorporate that as part of our culture in the party.
Yeah. Now, policy priorities can be pretty polarizing. We kind of discussed that before. In your view, what are the top issues, that the Libertarian Party should focus on heading into 2025?
Top issues heading into 2025. That is difficult to say, because I don't think I'll be really listened to on some of those issues, unfortunately, by some of our current leadership there. As a party, it is, of course, just after a presidential year. Some people are very hopeful that the President Trump will do certain things and fulfill certain promises. I am somewhat pessimistic of that. He has not had a good track record of keeping his promises. Some of them I would love for them to happen. It's just that I am not holding out hope. I'd rather, maybe it's the dark humor from my military past of thinking of things that, we'll wait for things to go bad and improve from there. But I just look at that and say, we want to hold him accountable for every one of those promises that aren't kept, as to the best of our ability. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of our leverage, so it's difficult to hold him accountable in those areas. We can pretty much just shout out there on what needs to go on. As far as for the party going forward, let's say if I could make anything happen, and we actually did it. Okay, so we would need to come together as a party for running libertarian candidates and have that to be our focus going forward into the future. We would need to make an effort, bottom up, top down, to invite members back and seek those new members that are out there. There's just not a lot of contacting that's gone on. You just can't shout out on social media all the time. There's a lot of you need to really build that connection with individuals and onboard them into the party and to get them involved and get their donations. Right now, a lot of people aren't donating to the party over many concerns. We need to address those concerns to have the party move forward. Some of those, I've run my own little survey there to figure out what some of the concerns of those constituents that aren't happy with the direction of the party. They aren't happy with the joint fundraiser with RFK being one of the things. At the same time, I can recognize that's one of the few things keeping us afloat at this time. I don't know all the details on the RFK fundraiser, which makes me very uncomfortable as a member of the LNC of how that works. I'm not privy to those details there. But I do know that typically joint fundraisers for a presidential candidate that didn't get elected tend to fall off after the election at some point here. So I know that money's going to be going away. So we need to be able to sustain our party and support things going forward. Some of our biggest things need to be done locally. Sometimes we say we're decentralized, and right now the LNC is focusing too much on us controlling things of the decentralized nature that needs to be going on, and it should be. Running local candidates is very important. We should be running those local candidates, and we should also be running statewide candidates. I believe in every candidate running where they can. They say, oh, we need to point them towards certain directions. I don't think those individuals that have said that have had a lot of experience with that, because we do typically try to point people in those different directions of the winnable races. Unfortunately, not everybody that steps forward to be a candidate is amenable to changing where they want to run. So, fundraising, running candidates, doing the libertarian thing out there, holding the president accountable, holding government officials at all levels accountable for their actions. I think that a lot of people are looking things with some glasses of what will happen, and they need to look at reality and prepare for how to counter some of those things going on in the future. I would really love for our party to be able to come together and run our candidates and to be able to move forward as a party again. There's some different ways we can, another thought on how we could do that. There's something about messaging that people bring up all the time. They bring up, do we need bold messaging, or do we need more pragmatic messaging out there? And I always say we need to have our messaging actually be candidate focused, that anytime we can insert a candidate as our instrument of messaging at any level, the better. And that's one change of the party, no matter who was in charge, I would like to see going on in the future, that our candidates are our product. If we were a company selling something, our candidates are our product. The party isn't the product. The party is the brand for that product that's out there. And so we need to be selling those candidates every opportunity we have. And that can help bring us forward as a party. That can also help heal the divide in some ways, because instead of fighting over the types of messaging, we have those candidates do the messaging, and you just try to get as many of those candidates out there doing well, and your messaging will be out there. You'll have a mix of different candidates that are doing anything from very bold messaging to more pragmatic at different levels, depending on what they're running for and where. And we should focus more on that as our instrument of messaging.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I know when I ran for state rep, my messaging was a lot different than when I'm running for township supervisor.
Exactly.
So, because at township supervisor, I go and ask, when I go around and get signatures, a lot of people ask me these questions about things like about abortion and gun laws. I'm like, that doesn't apply to township supervisor. I can make our township a safe haven, but we're like 13 square miles. Like, that's nothing. Like, half of our stuff is farmland or wooded area, like, or senior citizen living communities. Like, I really don't think most of our constituents care about abortion or gun laws. Like, we also have a gun range, indoor gun range, and another gun shop in our township. Pretty sure we're pretty 2A friendly in this township. So I'm probably not going to be against that because they're two of our largest businesses in the township. So
One would
like,
hope.
I would hope, like, yeah, but I go and I tell the people, I'm like, I can gladly tell you my stance on it, but my opinion on it doesn't matter in this race. And then we also have it, like, in my county, we have Brian Fitzpatrick is our representative in our area at the federal level, and most of the areas despise him, except for the couple strongholds he has, which are highly population dense. So he gets those. We actually had it that our candidate for Libertarian needed more signatures than the Chase Oliver campaign needed signatures in our state to get on the ballot.
Wow.
For a federal representative position, a congressman needed more signatures than a presidential candidate for the whole state.
See, those are the battles I would like to be fighting as the LNC, partnering with different states out there. Going forward, if we can heal this divide, get our money back where it needs to be, that we should be partnering in and working those legislators or lawsuits when necessary to force ballot access to be more equitable there and in different ways to the other major parties. We shouldn't be starting with our feet tied together, in the race the way we are in so many places. And that's one thing I think that here in LP Texas, we do pretty well in fighting those battles. And I wish other states had the same ability to fight those battles out there.
Yeah, I know when I ran for state, I lucked out with state rep. My race for that is to try and get on the ballot and stuff. And that was because we had a set, it was a redistricting year. So they're like, oh, just 300 signatures. Good. You're done. Here. Like, here's just a number. We'll pull a number out of our butts and give you a number. But I ended up getting off for sore loser stuff and everything, which was asinine in itself because I withdrew before the ballots were printed or anything like that. So, but they went off of that I campaigned for the same race as a different party. So that's what they got me on. I'm like, I should have switched. I had the opportunity when I came to the Libertarian Party. I could have switched my race. Should have switched. And that was the thing, is people don't want to switch and stuff like that. But I had like a personal vendetta against the lady that I was running against just because she tried to sue me off the ballot. So my name gets written in by about 15 people every year that she runs just because.
Anger is a strong motivator sometimes.
And it's funny, I'm like, I'm not even running for that race, and I probably have about 15, 20 people write my name in because they refuse to vote for her. It doesn't matter if there's a Democrat running or not against her, they'll still write my name in because they're like, I don't like either of them. I liked you. I'm gonna write you in. I'm like, I'm not running for that race, but okay.
Yeah, on my ballot, there's a few where unfortunately they were running unopposed, and I do not like the individuals, so I made sure to not vote for them on there. And a few others where I didn't like both individuals, just undervoted just so that their numbers are below others, so they can understand, hey, nobody likes these people, even if they win because of the system.
My parents live across the street from me, so they're in my district, obviously. On the primary, they write my name in. I'm not even a registered Republican, and they write my name in just so she does not get 100% of the vote. Just so she gets 99. So as a founding member of the Classical Liberal Caucus, can you kind of tell us more about what the caucus stands for and how you feel that the caucus is faring under Layla Bush and her leadership as the new chair? I know she's someone that I admire pretty greatly. So Just so I know, what's your perspective on that?
So, all right. So just to be clear, since I'm not the chair, and that's part of the rules there, only the chair can speak on behalf of the Classical Liberal Caucus. So this is only my opinion here too on that there. I think Layla is doing great under challenging situation here. She's trying to heal the divide between a lot of different people here. Some people we have a mix of, classical liberals, I should say, classical liberalism is, if you read Mises liberalism in the classical sense there, his book is pretty much, where most of our policy could be drawn off from there. It's a great book there. So you could actually say there's two Mises caucuses out there. It's just one focuses on his financial side and other stuff, and one focuses on more his social side that he's talking there for things there. And that's part of what the Classical Liberal Caucus is based on. We're also very friendly to different groups out there. So we have a wide variety of personalities she's trying to work with and balance between individuals that don't have a home within the Libertarian Party and want to be around us, and might not necessarily be classical liberals now, but they're friendly to us. At any rate, she's doing a great job there, trying to redefine the caucus out there that previously it kind of got almost thrown into being the opposition caucus, and that was never the point to be the opposition caucus. It was just so many people gathered around it at the time. We have people that come there all the time that were we have people that are still members of the Mises Caucus, and they're trying to help us heal that divide between members that are in the Mises Caucus that are great members, but might not share the vision with Angela there, as far as for moving forward the Libertarian Party. And many of those people I work well with. Even when I mention my county, I'm the only one that isn't a member of the Mises Caucus within our county leadership, and some of the previous other people. Excuse me, I just was getting a broadcast on my PA system here from my wife. Where was I? Okay, so the individuals on there, yeah. So one was a previous member of the Mises Caucus. The two of the three of the others are current Mises Caucus members, and I'm not. So, but we all work together because we know the importance of the party going forward, and that's what I'm trying to work with people within the Classical Liberal Caucus, that creating that home that's still friendly to people that are classical liberals within the party, and to move forward the party and get people involved and have a friendly place, because some parts of the party aren't very friendly right now, unfortunately, to classical liberals within the party.
Yeah, no, I'm former Mises, so and the philosophy there is something that I definitely agree with. It's just how things are being run.
Mm-hmm.
I said this last night on my Twitter space. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when people get unchecked power, it kind of really messes things up. But I'm still Mises friendly. Like, dude, I'll work with anybody as long as we can agree on a couple things. I'll work with you.
Yeah.
And that's as long as there's a couple, like there's a couple of things that it's like, you're a little far from where I would like to be on what I can work with. Can we dial it down a little?
and it's always been that way in the party with some individuals out there. Even before that caucus existed, there was different individuals be like, all right, you need to dial it down just a little bit in that area. You're still bringing a little baggage from your old party there with you, where you might be a little bit farther to the right or left in the more popular sense than the Libertarian Party is, and to leave that identity behind that they sometimes bring with them.
The other thing I kind of go is like, can we dial down the anarchist cookbook level stuff? Like just a little, just a little. Some of those, some like, love you as a person, you're great, but the whole let's like scream down the street yelling anarchy. maybe not.
Yeah.
But then every group has the people that take it and just run with it. So everyone has them.
Everyone wants to go just yell it, and actually going out there and doing mutualism and stuff that is the harder.
Mm-hmm.
You can already start doing some of the anarchy things. Just start doing it.
Yeah, you don't need to announce it. Just do it.
Just do it.
So I have $1 million question here for you. How should we deal with affiliates putting out takes that some might find morally reprehensible? Do we prioritize free speech, or is there a line where the party kind of needs to step in, and kind of who decides where that line is, and how to kind of go about announcing that?
So yeah, that's talking around the New Hampshire problem. So
Didn't say anything about New Hampshire.
So the issue there. It is. Yeah, I know many people who like bold principle messaging, but will step back and go, not like that though. There is a difference. First you need to actually talk to the people and tell them that behavior is not accepted, and that should be conversations that we're actually having on back channels with individuals. And I feel like it's sometimes just being accepted or ignored in many ways, and when you allow that to happen within a group, it just feeds on itself and builds, and so you'll have worse instances of that. There are certain lines that we shouldn't be crossing. We should be we should be going for principled libertarianism. We should never say something in a way that can be construed as saying something nice about a man from Germany, for example, a particular individual there, or disparaging about large groups of other individuals.
There's a fine line. There's a fine line between what you would say on your personal stuff as your personal view, and then when you start speaking as a collective and representing a collective, it goes and it's like, you're starting to make it generalization for everybody in that group, and not everybody agrees with that. By all means, you can say whatever, that the free speech stuff goes, you can say whatever you want on your personal stuff, that's your personal view. But when you start saying certain things on professional or group pages and representing them, that's where you're like, probably should not say that there, because not everybody agrees with that.
So there's a lot of low-level ways that we can start changing the community and talking about those things individually, and we should do it at that level. It's much better than having to force it through policy. It may come to that point, and there's policies that can be made and enforced on that. And if it comes down to that, I'm fully, it's like, well, that's the policy. We're gonna do that to protect ourselves. There's a certain point we have to protect ourselves and our reputation there as an organization, if it's not representing the organization well. But hopefully, I'm always hopeful for good old communication and cooperation between individuals. We're libertarians, we're fiercely independent, but we also believe we should be able to make the right choices. And I think that we should be able to communicate to help make those right choices. And a lot of that communication just doesn't go on. There's hard parts of leadership of having those difficult conversations with people. And often people skip over that hard part of leadership to counsel with people and to try to get them on the correct path. Being a father, I sometimes laugh about how I'll do that with some other individuals, where I'll give them what would normally, it's a variation of my disappointed dad talk, and how often that can turn some individuals around. So some people, if they're listening, they're like, wait, Paul did that to me. What? Oh, okay. That was just me wanting to make them a better person and doing the almost a variation of the dad talk with them as a leader in a way that's how I turn around in one way that other individuals might relate to that.
I just bring out the mom voice. I rule by tough power, tough love.
Tough love.
Tough love.
I just tell the person that they have so much potential, and I'm disappointed in how they're not living up to that potential in that particular instance. And
See, but that you have the disappointed dad. I have the mean mom.
yeah,
So there's this new movement that's gaining some traction in the LP, and it's called the LP Alliance. They're pushing for a balanced LNC board where no single caucus holds any majority. Kind of what's your take on this? Is this the kind of initiative that could possibly unite the party, or does it risk watering down principles that make us libertarians?
I really need to see more from the LP Alliance and what their eventual goals and how they're going to get there is going to be. Sometimes that can be over optimistic and you still won't achieve that balance they're going for. Really, for me, I look at the leadership in the party should be functionally, it doesn't matter where they're aligned. They should be such professionals that we are making the functions of the party work, and those, whatever your personal biases are, shouldn't be impacting where you are. And as long as the sole principle I want to unite people on is running libertarians and their candidates. So as long as they're going that direction, they might also be workable with there. I would also just worry that they might fracture votes between different groups out there. So they might look at the strategic level of what happens with some of their choices there.
What would you think of having almost like along the lines of a nonpartisan type concept for the LNC? Like, yeah, you're from this caucus, you're from that caucus, you believe on this side, you believe on that side. But when you unite together for the LNC, you're under one umbrella, and the ultimate goal is libertarianism.
Ideally, that's supposed to be how the LNC works.
Okay, that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be.
That's the same as the school boards. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, and they're not.
Yes,
Don't even get me started on school boards. Mine's been in the news all the time. So, would you? This is just your personal opinion. I'm asking for your personal opinion on this, so no one can get mad at you. Would you support a bylaw amendment to add a recall provision to the LNC? Should members have a way to hold leadership accountable midterm, or do you think it kind of opens the door to unnecessary infighting and instability?
Yes, I think that would have that would change a few things in our party history in different times if we had that ability already. Currently, that might be a popular concept among some members of the LNC currently, and even in the past, there were some members of the LNC that were quite controversial that didn't get off of the LNC that might have been recalled under such a provision. And thinking on it, I have a few different concepts in my head. Even restructuring the LNC, I kind of I'm not sure if you've heard Ken Mollman's plan of having the 50 states each have a representative, and then hiring more of a board in between all of those. Yes. And that those 50 states would then be able to recall under that provision too, essentially, since they're just basically hiring and firing the executive board there to make things happen. So I had a very similar idea previous to that one going. I was like, well, that's close enough to what I want. I'll go for that. I just had some more waiting for the larger states by population for gravity of votes there of trying to balance that out a little bit. But I was like, maybe my idea was too complicated. I'll just go with his. That's fine. I can go with that. But I would love, a recall process would help hold officers in check that aren't following the direction of what the membership of the party would want.
Yeah, no, that definitely I do like Ken's idea with everything with the 50 states and the LNC level, the executive board stuff. They're getting paid anyway. At some point, they should be an employee, and treated as such. But you start getting into the nitty gritty of, do you have an electoral college type concept for the bigger states, or is it everyone gets one? Yeah. You start getting into those things. It's like I would go and I'm like, I would support one where it's 50 states, 50 votes, 50 people. If you have someone in a territory like Puerto Rico or Guam and stuff like that, like they're technically part of the US. Like it's like you'd have to look into the whole stuff of that, but like I would support them too. Like, but it's a state per vote would make more sense and stuff, and just kind of keep things
District of Columbia currently gets to we allow affiliates in territories, so District of Columbia currently has an
true,
affiliate there.
you have that. It's like if you're I would do 1-to-1 state, territory, district, whatever, you one vote. I think that would make things easier. Less math. So what message do you have for someone listening who might be considered getting involved in Libertarian Party in general at any level, county, state, national?
Well, when you say any level, so many people just jump right into the deep end. They're like, oh, I want to do something nationally. I want to do something at the state level. It's start local. Start local and build your way up. You will learn so much more if you start local and then build your way up than if you just be like, oh, I can do better than the state leader, and you have no idea how your county level affiliates work. Jumping in, you need to know the job. So you will learn so much. Please get involved at that level. And if you're at another level and you want to move up, please explore going to that next level and working within the party. We need people to volunteer their time and efforts in a sustainable manner at all levels of the party. And so if you go out there, if your county doesn't have an affiliate, go out there and help your state build an affiliate out in your county. Make that happen. Be the change locally. That's where you're going to see the most change. That's where I've seen the most change myself, as I've shared some of my success stories in the party in the past, was local level change we were able to implement out there. And you can do a lot of change out there. And that's where I would encourage people to start.
Yeah, the ripple effect in a pond. You drop something small, the ripples get bigger as you go further out. And you don't realize, or the butterfly effect, whatever you want to use analogy you want to use. So we're pretty much going to wrap up here. This has been a great conversation. We really talked about a lot of stuff here. But before we wrap up, do you have any book or podcast recommendations for my listeners who kind of want to learn more about libertarianism and kind of just get their feet wet or open up their perspective on anything?
Let me see. So back when I joined the Libertarian Party, I got into this brand new thing in the 90s called the internet. You might have heard of it. And I ran across the Advocates for Self-Government, which is an organization still around. They're not as big as they used to be, but they're still doing a lot of great stuff out there. And I remember running across some books by Mary Ruwart that I really enjoy. Sorry, that one's not pulling up too well there.
Yeah,
so
I'll get the list from you and put them on.
The short answer. The short answers to tough questions is a good one, and Healing Our World. I like the Healing Our World one there too. That she just has some great answers out there to libertarianism and that. And I already mentioned Liberalism by Mises also. That's also a great book to read out there that I've enjoyed reading. And there's so many other great books, but I'll mention those key ones out there because you ask a libertarian, about a book, and they'll give you a library to read. So I'll narrow it down to my top 3 there that I would encourage others to read. As far as podcasts, there's so many libertarian podcasts out there. I'm not going to say any particular one. There's find your flavor and enjoy it out there. I like some that others don't like, and some others like ones that aren't my personal taste. So go with that there. I just wanted to recommend those 3 different books there.
Okay. And finally, we're seeing more attention to unjust imprisonments. Let's end this episode by calling on President Joe Biden to do the right thing and pardon Ross Ulbricht. Ross's case represents the worst of a government overstepping its bounds. Let's bring him home and send a message that we won't tolerate this kind of injustice. Thank you for tuning in to Unscripted Liberty, and remember to subscribe, share, and support the fight for liberty. Until next time, stay free.
Thank you.
A man who did the unspoken. He looked for freedom from the violence. No one is perfect when there's new ground broken. A mess is made and someone gets blamed. He had a dream of harmony as you wish to live out your own. We cannot stand for this, cannot have you fall along the Silk Road. This ain't the movies, there's a war in the streets. The innocent are in jail. We pray for justice and we wanna be free. Hope the truth will prevail. He had a dream of harmony as you wish to live out your own. We cannot stand for this, cannot have you fall along the Silk Road. Don't be afraid. We have a voice and this is it. Let the light show the way. You wish to live out your own. We cannot stand for this, cannot have you fall along the Silk Road. We cannot stand for this, cannot have you fall along the Silk Road.
On day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Is there anywhere on earth where a man can still be free? Will he bear the weight alone, or will he have to bend the knee? Is there no one in this land who grows tired of the game, where the wicked gather stones and build up prisons in our name? There's a story that you've heard before. It's been told inside a cage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. but he's patient and determined in his endless duel with time, in a sentence unbefitting of his crime. Will you bend your ear to listen? Will you turn your face to see the injustice staring back at you and me? He stands in the present, looking back, he sees the boy he was is gone, and there's no pretending, living day to day in death he carries on. There's a fire inside that burns in you and me, and the truth denied is what will set him free. And the years go by like strangers in a dream, and the reasons why are more than what they seem. I'm awake tonight, and his spirit spoke to me. I can't be polite, said Ross, so break free.